Hello everyone. Today we have Rajiv with us and he is chartered accountant and I will ask him to introduce himself. So hi sir, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Rohit, I'm a chartered accountant. My name is Rajiv. I qualified in the year 2006 and I'm a chartered accountant therefore since 17 years now. I'm a qualified company secretary. During these 17 years, I have been into professional practice as well as into academic pursuits of teaching students across all the professional commerce courses in India and abroad.
Okay.
So today I am based out of a company which is running in London and they have a subsidiary in India which is carrying out courses or educating students on these foreign professional courses like ACCA, CIMA, CMA and things like that. So that's about myself.
Thank you. It sounds interesting actually. So as we know about CA, we always think CA does accounting, calculation, mathematics, but we don't know about exactly what they're doing inside and what the role they're playing. So I will ask sir, can you just tell me about a CA and what role does they play?
Now, a chartered accountant comes into the picture wherever money is involved. Whether you call it by terms finance, economics, management, what is the root word for all of them? It is money.
Yes.
So wherever money is involved, you have expenses, you have incomes. Even in our personal accounting, we have a clear track of where our money is. कहाँ से आया, कहाँ गया, कितना खर्च हुआ. So even at the personal level, we maintain a record of how much money we have received and spent. Then you can imagine what happens in the case of a large-scale business. In a business, a lot of money is involved, and most of it would be public money. So if I just prepare a statement and give it to a person and say, this is my state of affairs, will that person believe it? So we need a certification. So what a chartered accountant does is to certify accounts. It's a financial certification, stating that yes, all these items which have been shown as incomes and expenses have actually been spent. And once a chartered accountant certifies it or vouches for it, then people can put their trust in it. So we have a lot of capital flowing in the economy in different forms, whether it is Indian currency or foreign currency. So there has to be a statement which substantiates what amount of money has come, what amount of money has gone. So wherever statements are made involving money, a chartered accountant certifies it as correct. And once it is certified as correct, then people can trust it. There are so many people involved. Let us say in the case of a company, you have shareholders, you have banks, you have business associates,
Correct.
Professionals working for it, employees. They all need to know whether it is true and fair, the statements that have been put in. That's where we come into the picture. We certify these statements as correct.
So as we go to know about chartered accountant and what they are doing in the current market and the business, how they are running. And sir, one question I'm getting, we know about chartered accountant, but what does that chartered mean in qualification actually?
Good. That's a good question. The word chartered actually comes from the word charter. Charter means a principle of law or rule. In the year 1949, that is before, after we became independent and before India became a republic, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India was born. In fact, it is under the Ministry of Company Affairs.
Okay.
So all these professional members in the country, which numbers to around 250,000 today, chartered accountants, are all members of a body which has been set up statutorily. So under law, we have a professional body supervising the profession of accountancy in India. So since we are members of such an institution, which is under a law, we are called the chartered accountants.
Okay.
And besides, there is another meaning to it. Suppose, for example, Rohit, you and a family of about 25 people have to travel from Chennai to Delhi for a marriage. Booking a train ticket, all of you might be separated. A bus might not be suitable because there are old people there. So what is the solution? You take a plane. What do? You charter a plane.
Okay.
You take a plane for yourself, for your family, for this purpose.
Correct.
And of course a pilot also.
Yes.
And so a plane which is available for public service is being devoted or streamlined for a particular family. You're chartering the plane.
Okay.
It is the same thing here. We are there for public services. So you have to charter me for your services. That is the other reason we have the word chartered account.
Okay.
So chartered actually means law. That's it.
Thank you. Wonderful answer. So, sir, my next question is accounting only maths or what?
Accounting actually is the language of business. See,
Okay.
when we communicate with a person, we have a language. We have multiple languages in India. I have to communicate something which the other person understands. The only language in which I can express business, I can convey about the items in business, is through accounting. So accounting is nothing but a posting of a transaction. For example, I might take a loan. I might introduce capital.
Okay.
If it's a company issues share capital to the public. Now, how are these recorded? How do I put it into my books of account as we call it? So there is a method. I can't write it in sentences. I can't write it in pure English. There will be so many such transactions at the year and we wouldn't know what happened, what relates to what. So instead, we journalize it and put everything into two parts.
Okay.
So that is the language of accounting. So accounting uses just two words, debit and credit.
Okay, that is two part you are saying.
Yes.
Okay.
So everything is either debited or credited, and at the end of the year, you get the results of all your financial transactions in just these two concepts. That's the beauty of accounts.
As we are giving our income tax as a direct tax to the government, then why again and again we are paying other tax like a GST, CGST, government, other GSTs, and how does it play in the role, like why we are paying those taxes?
Okay, that's a nice question. Actually, the basis of the taxation is different. You are a citizen of a country. You are earning income. You are spending it for personal purposes. You are buying things. So the government gets a revenue from you because you are working. In other words, when you are earning, you have earning potential, you contribute a part of your income to the government in the form of income tax, which is what we call a direct tax because it is directly on you.
Correct.
But the indirect taxes like GST, or maybe we had a lot of indirect taxes before, like central sales tax, state sales tax, excise duty, customs. They are all consumption-based tax. When you enter into a sale transaction or a purchase transaction, there is a transaction on the commodity or on the service. You take a train to travel from one place to another. There's a service which is rendered to you by the railways.
Okay.
So that tax is on that service. So it is a good. You purchase a simple body deodorant. Now that's a sales transaction. So you pay a tax on that because the transaction has happened. I agree, it is actually double taxation. But in income tax, we do not allow these personal expenses as an expenditure also. But we are working towards it. Let me tell you, there was a time when there were so many forms of taxation, which today have been reduced to just two. So today I only have income tax and I have GST. Imagine once upon a time when I was a student of chartered accounting, we had wealth tax, gift tax, excise duty, customs. Today it is only two. So in my opinion, over a period of time, even the indirect tax can be merged with income tax and we have only one taxation system.
Correct.
But I agree, it is not fair to have two taxes from the same person.
Yeah. So it's like we are paying income tax. Okay, that is for government to serve ourselves.
Yes, it's for public welfare.
Even. Like then, otherwise we are seeing outside also for any services from government also we are paying tax. For any goods we are buying, there also we are giving tax.
Yes, correct.
So that tax already we are paying. Why this tax will again
It is proven because this has been happening for years together.
Okay.
It is even much before the independence, when the Britishers were. The only thing is it was called by different names.
Correct.
So, but then we are moving towards that system where we have only a single point tax.
Yeah.
Because it is age old. There is a saying in English, old habits die hard.
Yeah.
So this is something which will take its own time to phase and reduce over a period of time.
करेक्ट. तो सर जैसे कि हम टैक्स बात ही कर रहे हैं तो एक ऑडिट टर्म्स आता है हमारे, और ऑडिट्स हम यूजुअली बहुत सारे जो जनरल लोग वो जानते नहीं कि ऑडिट्स क्या होता है। हम सोचते हैं इनकम टैक्स कोई छापा पड़ा, कुछ हुआ, बट व्हाट डज ऑडिट मीन्स एक्चुअली इन करंट बिजनेस और द गवर्नमेंट साइड? व्हाट इज दैट?
Okay. The word audit is one of the professional services that chartered accountants render. There are so many services, out of which audit is one. Of course, it is the primary occupation of a chartered accountant. The word audit comes from a Latin phrase called audier.
Okay.
Audier means to listen, to hear. So what an auditor does is, on behalf of the government, let us say he is an agent on behalf of the government to ask a business questions. It is only to find out whether there is any fraud involved, whether everything has been done properly, whether the accounts are genuine. So the auditor is only an agency of the government which communicates with the business and gets the data and then publishes back to the government or to the public welfare. When there is a company, especially a public listed company, there are so many investors.
Okay.
How many people, even you, if you have savings, what is the first thing that you think of? Either mutual funds or a company investment.
Correct.
There are many like you. So I will have about lakhs of investors in a public company. And they need to know what their money is being used for. इसका चल क्या है? इसका हमें returns क्या मिलेगा?
Correct.
So for this purpose, the audit is, I will ask you questions. You answer. You have to satisfy me or convince me. So more than we ask you the questions, an auditor must keep his ears open to see what you have to say. So an audit is nothing but a verification or a certification, as I told you before.
Correct.
So in order to certify accounts, I need to ask questions and get clarifications. So audit is basically this system of evaluating, assessing, and certifying. So once I stamp accounts, no more questions are asked.
So one more question I'm getting from this audit only. It's like who has that authority to audit? Like a government body only, or in a private body even they can do?
No, it is only for the government certified. For example, if you take the Reserve Bank of India, you must have heard about Reserve Bank of India. You must have heard of the Indian Navy, Postal Department, Railways, ministries. These are also spending money. They also have an income.
Yes.
They might be getting grants from the government, using that for their purpose and running public services. Even they have to be audited. The Supreme Audit Authority in India is called the C&AG, or the Controller and Auditor General of India.
Okay.
That is the government's body. So in a government company, the C&AG appoints chartered accountants for auditing apart from their own audit. So you have a primary audit and a secondary audit. So basically we support the government in telling the people or giving people the faith in the accounts, so that they can trust these accounts. That is actually audit. So it means listening to queries, responses to them, based on which I can say, yes, this balance sheet or this P&L account is reasonably correct.
Correct. So with this answer, like I don't think so. Like हमारे सब्सक्राइबर को और हमारे ऑडियंस को ऑडिट पे और कोई क्वेश्चन चाहिए ही नहीं होगा या आंसर चाहिए नहीं होगा. So pretty well. So we'll move towards next question. Is there any connection between CA and the government? And if so, what's it?
Okay, so the relationship between a CA and the government. Fine. As I told you before, when I explained the word chartered, I said chartered accountants are members of a body called the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, or the ICAI. Every country has its own Institute of Chartered Accountants, all the different names. So once you are established as a body by an act of the government, you have the government's certificate there.
Okay.
So when a chartered accountant goes and certifies accounts and says that these accounts are fine, it is indirectly the government which is approving it. So the government has, you know that the government is there in multiple ministries. You have a Ministry of Finance, you have a Ministry of Railways, Ministry of Roadways. Similarly, we have a ministry called the Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Okay.
We call it the MCA. In fact, all the professional bodies in India, all the three professional bodies, it is not just chartered accountancy. There are company secretaries, of which also I am a member, incidentally. The ICSI and the ICMA, or the Institute of Cost and Management Accountants. All these are established under the government's special act. There's a central act. So the relationship between a CA and the government, if I tell it to you in one word, it is the act.
Okay.
Which has formed the body under which we are members. So this is a lot correlated to your first question.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of the word charter?
Yes. Yes. Correct. So, sir, the next question is, what is the contribution of CA in the public welfare and like society?
Okay, public contribution. Now, to mention about this, I need to tell you that auditing has expanded nowadays. Once upon a time, it was restricted to books of accounts, financial statements, balance sheets, P&L account, cash flow statements. That is conventional auditing.
Yeah.
Today, auditing has developed to such an extent that we have new branches of audit like forensic audit. जब भी कहीं crime होता है, even a crime will have an economic effect to it. There could be money, there could be a fraud, there could be money laundering, black money involved. So we have a new branch of auditing called forensic audit, which supports crime, criminal investigation. Similarly, social audits are there. Whether a business is socially responsible, we call it corporate social responsibility, CSR. We have a provision which is making it legal also for big companies to contribute to it. So social audits, technology audits, environmental audits. Whether there is a concern, an organization or a company which is polluting the environment.
Correct.
So we are actually taking care of even the social responsibilities through audit of these elements in business.
Okay.
So we stamp and say that yes, this organization is reasonably doing well to all these communities of stakeholders. They are not polluting the environment. There is no fraud involved here. So what happens? The public increases their stake in it. Today the public does not want to involve with a company which doesn't have a responsibility towards nature. You can see the number of natural disasters that are happening nowadays. These are happening, believe me, about 60 to 70% of it is man-made. Which means there must be a check on how these, especially companies are big citizens doing a lot of activities. So they must be environment friendly.
Correct.
We help in that also. So there's a social responsibility.
So coming to this question only, like we are seeing many frauds happening in our nation. Like the small companies are also coming into the picture and they're doing something a mess and they're going away. So where we are lagging and how we are not seeing those things and why we are not stopping.
That is because these managements may be having political connections, for example. So whatever they are doing negative may be detected, but it goes under the wraps.
Okay.
In other words, even if the chartered accountants are bound by a code of ethics, we have ethical conduct. A chartered accountant who is punished for any negative economic practice is dealt with very severely by the institute. He gets suspended. In fact, once you become a chartered accountant, we are always worried when our membership will go. और इतनी मुश्किल से मेंबरशिप मिली है, अब ऐसा क्या करूं या क्या हो जाएगा जिससे कि मेंबरशिप चला जाएगा. So we are worried about that also. So what happens is it is the system which is problematic. See, in India, if you ask me the question, laws are beautifully made. We are citizens in a country having about 950 acts. And the problem is when it comes to enforcement. Laws are बहुत अच्छे बने हैं, लेकिन जब implementation में आता है, we lack.
The ground level we have to work.
Ground level, it is not being monitored. That is the reason behind it.
So what I'm getting one very interesting questions like our followers and the public also wants to know that one. Like as a CA in early stage of their career, how much package they will usually get? Okay, you mean a freshly qualified accountant who just finished his final examination. Now, if I can give this as a market standard, it's a difficult question to answer because it varies. Because most of our CA students, most of the freshly qualified professionals might even decide to leave the country. So if I consider them also and then give you a salary, then will be difficult. But on the Indian standards, basically it is about 9,60,000 to 12 lakhs, which is pretty good. Pretty good in India, correct.
Yeah, so that is the value for our course of the career. There
are many students who are preparing for this.
Yes,
role actually, and they want to become like you even. So just tell me something about what is the preparation, what are the steps they should take to become a CA?
Okay, chartered accountancy basically is meant for those who are hardworking. Whenever Rohit we refer to something or somebody who is hardworking, we say he works like a dog. I don't understand why people say he works like a dog, never works. The actual synonym for work is ant. See the way an ant works. We need students like that who consistently work little by little by little by little consistently. They are hard-working students are needed. More than hard-working, I would say today's generation, smart working. Put in smart work, identify where your weaknesses are, and concentrate on them. So it is not basically intelligence which matters here. It is the consistency. चलो मैंने सोच लिया कि आज दो घंटे पढ़ूंगा, बेसिकली ऐसी टाइम टेबल होनी नहीं चाहिए जो टाइम पे बेस हुआ हो. यू मस्ट हैव अ कॉन्सेप्ट बेस. मैं ये चैप्टर खत्म करूंगा फिर नहीं सोऊंगा आज. दैट्स अ बेटर वे ऑफ प्लानिंग एक्चुअली, बट students normally don't do it. And when you say I plan a timetable for about 2 hours, all the 2 hours goes in looking at the clock, whether it will become 2 hours. So that has to be avoided. So you must have a plan which is effective. So because this is actually a profession. See, once you do chartered accountancy, or chartered accountancy teaches you more than just accountancy, taxation, or audit. It teaches you patience. It teaches you endurance. It makes you a complete professional. So a student who is willing to step into that kind of a mode or a model, where he is prepared to start looking at a profession. I must realize 3 years from now I'm going to become a professional. So I look at myself 3 years from now, not as if I am today. So it is meant for the hardworking people who are concept based, who can work logically, reasonably. This is why perhaps I think, another question you might have is, why are the results so bad? The results in CA are between 3%, 4%, 5%. That is because they were not qualified as professionals. Forget about qualifying as chartered accountants. A professional life or a professional as such is very, very disciplined. He has a code of conduct for him. Nobody has to tell him what to do. So actually, in order to inculcate these habits also, these also will develop in you as a professional. So that is basically the purpose of it. So students must be prepared to, take it up as a meditation, get ready to get converted into professionals, for which a very, very early orientation is necessary. So you need hard work, understand the subjects, but then believe me, the syllabus that the institute has is very little. Most of the studies that a student does is after he qualifies. So it is hard work. Students must be prepared for it. And especially when you come from a BCom background or a bachelor's degree background, you are expected to suddenly leap into something very big. So you must be ready for that transition. That is all the advice I have for students. So it is meant for those students.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for that opportunity.